Hey guys, it's Mike here, and welcome to another video. We are bringing you today discussing Dragon Ball Z, and we are going to be discussing the next entry in What is the Multiplier For, in which we examine multipliers of particular forms that we see throughout the series of Dragon Ball and the franchise of Dragon Ball, and discuss what exactly we believe that the multipliers for those forms are. And today, myself and Josh from Dragon Ball Nation are going to be examining Super Saiyan's Grade 2 and Grade 3, otherwise known as Ascended and Ultra Super Saiyan, and examining what exactly we believe the multiplier for those forms are. Hey guys, if you like videos like this, then make sure to subscribe to my channel to see all other videos that I have that will be coming out in the future, and hit the notifications bell so you can see them when they upload right away. Alright, Josh, so today we're going to be examining those forms, and there is, a lot of debate amongst the Dragon Ball community as to how powerful they really believe these forms to be, and, to put a specific number on them, it could be a little bit difficult. But examining the evidence, and I know that you examined a lot of the evidence in even the Daizenshu before this video went on the air, what do you believe that, you lean towards for the two forms? And I guess maybe we could start out with the Ascended or Grade 2 and then talk about Grade 3.
Right, well the problem with the Daizenshu, I figured it would have given me a little bit more info than what I initially would have thought. But really all we really got is that it just talks about how the forms, obviously, as we know, increase power but also slow down speed, and it seems to apply that as well to the Grade 2, which is the Ascended Super Saiyan that Vegeta used against Cell, obviously, and the Grade 3 is the one that Trunks used against Cell, the really buff steroid form. It seems to say that they both decrease speed and add power. We obviously know this about Trunks' form, and it can be implied about Vegeta's. But as for any raw numbers, we don't have any of that in the Daizenshu. We don't really get an indication of where they stack above Super Saiyan in relation to Super Saiyan 2. It doesn't say anything like, let's say Grade 2 is equal to Super Saiyan 2. It doesn't say that. We just didn't really get a lot of extra info, I don't think. But as far as something like Super Saiyan Grade 2 and Grade 3, it's interesting because I tend to think that they're obviously in line with Super Saiyan 1 and 2. They're in between there somewhere. Yeah. As they should be, because they are obviously extensions and ascensions of the Super Saiyan form. But at the same time, Super Saiyan 2 and 3 can kind of be applied to that definition as well. But as far as the first Super Saiyan Grade 2, I always kind of figured it was somewhere in the middle of 1 and 2. It was kind of that little middle ground, that point in between where it has a little slowdown, but it does have a very big boost in damage. We don't exactly know where that is, energy output, damage, durability. It was obviously enough for Vegeta to be able to beat Semi-Perfect Cell down, but we don't have any indication of how strong Vegeta's Super Saiyan form was compared to Cell. I always thought that it was kind of implied that Vegeta as a Super Saiyan might have been around Semi-Perfect Cell, just based on how Trunks was talking about he's transforming already, he's surprised that Vegeta was even going to that power already, as if maybe he could have done something before. So I always kind of thought that, like I said, the middle ground between 1 and 2, so maybe we could place it somewhere between it's a 50% increase over Super Saiyan. I don't think that's an inaccurate thing to say, but in the end, it's more of a guess, right? We don't have any raw information to really lead us to that point, but we're inferring that information. We're really guessing here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like, when it does come to us making these, assumptions about the numbers, I feel like even if it's not necessarily canon, so to speak, we're still using like all of the evidence that we've seen throughout the entire franchise in our own knowledge as power scalers to kind of come up with very educated guesses as to what these are. Now, additionally, in terms of the Daizenshu, I do also remember them saying that the Grades 2 and 3 also additionally have the weakness of using more power, which of course Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan 3, again, according to Akira Toriyama, also even use more power, because you're putting out 2 times for Super Saiyan 2 above Super Saiyan more power, and 4 times Super Saiyan 2 or 8 times Super Saiyan in terms of how much more potency you're putting out. So it makes sense that you would drain faster, plus, just being in those forms alone will drain your energy quicker just because of the forms themselves and how, advanced they are. But I agree about the first form. I think that it makes sense that grade 2 is probably about 1.5 times greater. Now, do I think that necessarily Vegeta was as strong as semi-perfect Cell as his normal Super Saiyan? I think that Vegeta probably advanced enough in the chamber to where that is a possibility. But I think it makes more sense, or I think it makes sense within Vegeta's character, and it's in line with Vegeta's character to transform into the next, level up, just so that he could be even more of a badass and dominate even more his opponent, so he can even talk even more shit to his opponent, because we know Vegeta just loves to talk shit while he's beating somebody down. Like, that's his whole character.
Right, and I think the problem is that we didn't see Vegeta battle Cell before he ascended. Same goes for Trunks. The problem there is, and I know we'll get to the grade 3 in a second. The problem with Trunks is that we don't know how big of a boost perfect form is, and we didn't really see the progression of Super Saiyan Trunks to grade 3 because honestly, even in the manga, he doesn't land a hit on Cell. So it's a whole big problem there, and that's the big one. But I do want to say, I don't think there's anyone watching this video that would tell you that grade 2, the ascended form, is stronger, has a bigger power boost than something like Super Saiyan 2. I don't think anyone out there is going to say that, but I do think it would output more power, or I should say drain more power, not output it.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense, and Super Saiyan 2 is really that next step up. I mean, that's why they all transform into Super Saiyan 2 next, as opposed to reusing those forms, except for when Trunks
forgot about it.
Yeah, pretty much. And we never even see any strict numbers, so maybe that is the case. But when it comes to the next form, to Super Saiyan Grade 3, now this one might be a little bit trickier to kind of give a strict number to, but what would you really think, Josh, going by your own, analysis, that Super Saiyan Grade 3 would be in terms of a number?
It's incredibly difficult because I always figured that the perfect Cell, and a lot of people have disagreed with me, but a lot of people have agreed with me on this, and this is just my own headcanon. I've assumed that the perfect Cell that initially came out and did a battle with Trunks wasn't quite as powerful as the one that was at the Cell games, just because I feel like he got more used to his body, and it seemed like based on the advantage he had on Goku, because people don't understand, Cell at the Cell games had a huge advantage on Goku in terms of power. He was holding back so much, even when he powered up against Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Goku was surprised at how much he was even holding back, and he knew at the start going into the fight he had no chance, and Cell had even more power held back. So I always assume that Cell had gotten used to his body, so he had an increase in strength, I suppose, which I think doesn't make, it's not like it doesn't make complete sense or something. It's possible, but I want to say it because obviously Cell says that Trunks had him beat in brute strength. And I don't think if Cell, or if Trunks went, let's say, Super Saiyan 2, he would have had enough power to beat Cell, just based on how much Cell was holding back against Goku. That's just my honest opinion. So, really thinking about it, it's possible that the Grade 3 would actually have more power than Super Saiyan 2 would. That's just my opinion. But at the same time, it's, again, this is just my headcanon, and I know it might sound confusing to some people. Depending on how strong Cell was when he initially went perfect, I mean, if he was the same strength as he was against Goku, I mean, then I would say that the Grade 3 would be strong on Super Saiyan 2. But I always kind of thought that they was about the same, and that the Super Saiyan 2 was just perfecting everything that had been being worked up to, I suppose. It was that perfect ascension of the Super Saiyan form, really.
Yeah, which makes sense, but also is kind of contradicted by what Toriyama had said about how, like, the Super Saiyan normal form, I guess, is more balanced. But when it comes to that, I feel like with the Grade 3, its power we see increase and their muscles get bulkier over time, but even, the series and the Daizenshu both state that there is a decrease in speed, so it could be possible that their power can keep growing and growing and growing as long as they keep infusing their ki into their muscles and making them stronger, but they're going to keep getting so much slower, and we even see this in the series, that it doesn't matter. So I think that there is a possibility in terms of pure strength.
I mean, if Cell could buff up, I mean, I would assume any type of being can really bulk themselves up. I mean, Frieza could do it, even though it was because he wasn't really used to his 100% form, or he doesn't have it perfected. But I feel like any being that has a good power level or a high level of ki can probably bulk themselves up to a certain degree.
Yeah, even in Dragon Ball Super, Zamasu does it when he's fighting against Vegito, I believe.
Right, he kind of went like giant, which was kind of weird, but whatever.
I mean, it's another reference to Cell Saga, I guess, surpass, but, you know, Cell was able to bulk up too, so I feel like in terms of, like, their normal base form, I guess you could say that the strength of that form could surpass what they're normally capable of putting out without jacking up their muscles, but when you throw away speed, you lose so much in Dragon Ball because speed is such a gigantic thing, which is also why, you know, Dragon Ball characters many times would smoke other characters from fictional universes because they're so fast and speed is always such a big thing. So, like, you might be able to have Trunks surpass in terms of overall strength Gohan, but at the same time, I feel like Gohan did get so much stronger when he went Super Saiyan 2 that I feel like maybe even then that'd be really difficult.
Right. Mike, I also want to add in Dragon Ball Super, even though it's a little bit tricky to look at, Trunks, when he fought Vegeta as a Super Saiyan Blue, Trunks went from Super Saiyan 2 to Ultra Super Saiyan, the Grade 3, and obviously this wasn't to beat Vegeta, it was to throw him off, but the fact that he goes from Super Saiyan 2 to the Grade 3 form, maybe that could imply that the Grade 3 is a decent amount stronger, because Vegeta would probably be thinking, you're trying to buff up yourself to get stronger than me, but you're going to be losing speed. So I think that could probably imply that Grade 3 would in fact be stronger than 2. Maybe it's something like a 2.5 times multiplier. The problem is we don't have a hard number that we could really accurately estimate, I don't think. It's just very difficult.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you make, and it is certainly a possibility looking at Dragon Ball Super and including that in the continuity that maybe that's the case, but also when you think about it though, Josh, what's to stop them from making an Ultra form of Super Saiyan 2 or Super Saiyan 3? Like, if all they have to do is take their energy and put it into their muscles, right, and strengthen their muscles and make them more powerful, like in terms of physical strength, why can't they do that as Super Saiyan 2 or Super Saiyan 3 either?
I think they can, it's just obviously it's not worth it because the Warriors now do understand the detriment of doing this type of transformation. Again, Vegeta says when he's fighting Trunks, he's like, oh, that's such, you're still with that primitive form, stuff like that. So the intelligent fighters are aware of this, and I imagine that, again, Super Saiyan through Super Saiyan 3 are all just higher levels of the same form, right?
Yeah.
So I figured, you know, I don't see why Super Saiyan 3 couldn't bulk up his body, because like we said earlier, Frieza can bulk up his body, Cell can bulk up his body. Being Super Saiyan 3 shouldn't make it so he can't bulk up if he really wanted to. It's just something that we wouldn't really see in the series, I guess.
Yeah, and that makes sense as well. But overall, I think that Josh and I are kind of in agreement about the first, you know, Super Saiyan Grade 2 probably is around 1.5, somewhere in the middle.
I think a lot of people think that.
Yeah, a lot of people do, and it does make a lot of sense. As far as Super Saiyan Grade 3, I believe that that one is a little bit more difficult, especially since what we've said about the two different series that have featured the form. But overall, I feel like it's more, you know, strength-based, not speed-based, and Super Saiyan 2 has kind of shown that it edges it out. Same with Super Saiyan 3, even though Super Saiyan 3 has greater drawbacks, I would say, overall. But let us know your own thoughts down below in the comments section, what you believe the multiplier for the form is. I know a lot of people don't believe in multipliers at all, but, you know, in Dragon Ball, I feel like there's something that we've been given so many times at this point, we have to at least discuss them and speculate about them. But let us know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to go over to Josh's channel and check out his content. He makes stuff like this Dragon Ball content. You know, he is Dragon Ball Nation after all, so if you like Dragon Ball, you're definitely going to like his channel, so go over there, give him a subscribe, totally free. And if you like this video also, I would suggest you subscribe to my channel, as I release content weekly, and you know, it's content I feel like you're going to enjoy. So as I always say, stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
And you better subscribe!